we will just get going. Here we go. Happy Thanksgiving and welcome to Inside the 18. I'm Michael Magid, live from Hollywood, California. With me, you know him as the hardest working man in all of goalkeeping, the one and only Cal State LA goalkeeper coach, Omar Zini, who just goes from USL championship to the collegiate field to what's next? AYSO for you, Omar? What do you got going on?
Oh man, I've tackled AYSO a long time ago. Thank God that was on the pinnacle there. So yeah.
Oh man, and speaking of youth soccer, guys, we have two legends in the youth soccer game here in Southern California with us today, guys. We have the one and only Impact Goalkeeper Academy. We got Big Joe and Eric Miseroy joining us. What's up, guys?
How are you?
How's everybody doing?
Excited, man. Excited. You know, I mean, I think honestly, you know, with Thanksgiving coming up and everything like that, like we couldn't think of a better topic and a better group of people to have on to discuss this, which we're going to get to a little bit later on, guys. And today's topic is going to be, you know, giving back from the macro and the micro to the goalkeeping community in your area and worldwide. But kind of first up, before we kind of get into all that, you two, for some people out there who might be like, I don't know, based in like, you know, somewhere like, you know, the Emirates, and they might not be familiar with Impact Goalkeeper Academy and all the sizzle and all the fire that Big Joe puts in all his social media comments. Why don't you tell the people a little bit about Impact Goalkeeper?
Good. Thank you.
Well, IGA is just something that started grassroots back in 2001, and it was just all about fulfilling a need that was needed here in South Bay, which ironically is a hotbed for soccer talent. So it started back then, and it was all about grassroots and developing. And as the years went by, you know, we got better. We changed our ways. We got out of the old school mentality and started seeing new ways to train goalkeepers, especially with the distribution, and to add more variety to what we do, like our ID camps and, you know, working with top coaches to do coaching education. And, you know, we're just trying to do the best we can to provide the best information and training out there for goalkeepers in the area.
Yeah. You know, and I think, you know, one of the really cool things about that is when you're talking about, you know, bringing in elite coaches, you also develop and cultivate your own coaches. For instance, this young man right here, Omar Zini, actually spent a good deal of time assisting at the Impact camps. And I know this is something, Omar, that you've spoken to a lot of young coaches about in regards to those experiences.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, it's as a young coach, you kind of step into a new world, and you realize how much you don't know, or you think you know everything, and you step into a situation where, for example, at a camp, Joe pulled me aside and he was like, "Look," he calls me nephew. He's like, "Look, nephew, you know, I'm not seeing that passion from you today. And I know you're tired. The guys are tired, but these kids are coming here to get good training. And if your mentality and your body language is showing fatigue or, you know, tiredness and laziness, lack of a better term, then the kids are going to follow as well." So those are little lessons that you learn at a young age as a young coach. And I think for me, I try to embody that, and it's kind of like stuck in me now. So I try not to walk to anything during training. I try to make sure that when it's time to go as a coach, I'm ready to go. My communication is on, body language is there. So I attribute that a lot to working your guys' camps.
Yeah. Yeah, and by the way, guys, feel free to step in anytime. Don't wait for like a question or answer type of a thing. So it's free flowing like that. So Ms., I actually want to ask you about this, you know, because you know, we've had Joe on before, you know, in the past and everything like that. But you know, one of the things is that like Omar discussing what he was talking about in regards to, you know, giving that effort, giving that intensity, and having that connection and that care for the players out there. You know, I think that's something that I know you've been very specifically driving into young coaches out there. Is like, hey, it's not about you, it's about them. And I expect you to deliver as if they were serving to you.
Yeah, I think for us, you know, our biggest, like our mission statement together, Joe and I, you know, is it's about the kids, right? And so everybody, you know, including ourselves and our staff, it has to be about the players first, right? And we had a situation a couple of years ago when we brought a big time coach in from Mexico, and we were doing like this crazy shot stopping station style clinic.
Omar was there.
Yeah, I think Omar was there. Yeah, you're right.
Omar's leg almost fell off that.
Right. And
I was going to say a Mexican shot stopping clinic. I'm blown
Right.
away.
It was-
Really? What a
yeah,
shot.
it was. We were trying something out, and it was fun. It was very successful for the kids. But you know, I was one of the few guys that didn't speak fluent Spanish, and so I stopped the camp and brought the staff in, and I was like, look, maybe you think that this is acceptable, but it's, there's not enough coaching. Yes, the activities are going to coach the players, and yes, it's going to create chaos for them, whatever, but there has to be specific coaching. There has to be, your elbow need to be more forward in front of your ribs. Your toe had to be pointed more forward towards the ball. Whatever that specific technical aspect that isn't being done, that stuff has to come out because, it sounds silly, but I'm really, and he is too, but we're nervous that kids are going to go home and their dad, who wasn't there at dinner, is going to go, hey, little Joey, what did you learn today? And little Joey's going to go, well, I dove 5,000 times or, I did this, but, that answer for us isn't good enough. It's just not. And it's, it's not only with our big, our larger camps and camp events and all of that. It's with the Friday night sessions that Big Joe does, that they have to go home with a specific skill, knowledge that they can say, you know what, Dad, I learned that I need to push off more with, diving to my right because I'm weaker on my right, and I can do that by XYZ, planting my foot more forward, where my toe is, whatever it is in the case. And so I think that detail and due diligence is kind of what separates the way we want to do things. And that goes to what Omar was saying, as far as, not thinking that you're the best person out there, because there are far smarter, better goalkeeper coaches or coaches in general than any of us. And we are acutely aware of that. We always strive, to find new forms and avenues of education for ourselves so that, we can, give that information out, and that's why it's, I think that's part of the success that we've had, out here. So,
yeah. I mean,
to answer your question, that's about it right there,
I mean, I think, and before we kind of get into the topic here, I think Omar, they brought up some really good things right there. And that's something that I know that you've really been stressing throughout your development as a coach when you've started mentoring other coaches out there, and recognizing the fact that a lot of them were watching you, they're watching your YouTube videos, and they were saying, hey man, this is so cool. I'm going out there, I'm doing your sessions, blah, blah, blah. But again, they're not really understanding why you're doing your sessions, where you're doing your sessions in your progression, all of those sorts of things. So you start going, hey man, I appreciate you sending me your clips of your sessions and everything like that, but why don't you take a second and tell me the why? Tell me the why of why you're doing this, as opposed to trying to prove to me how you can replicate what I did out there.
Yeah, and I think that's like when you look at Joe and Mizzy's stuff, and when you look at other coaches, I think their big emphasis is, if I'm not there, you should be able to problem solve on your own. And I think those are the questions that young kids will ask me, or even young coaches will get, you said, send me their video, and I'll be like you said, why are you doing this? Like, what part of the season is this? Are you trying to get repetitions because it's preseason and you want to get the goalkeeper fitness? What is it? And those questions that I asked are the same exact questions that Joe has asked me, that Mizzy has asked me, that Phil has asked me, other coaches have asked me. And I think, again, that's as I'm getting deeper into the game now, you start realizing that, like, you just pass it on, pass it along, pass it forward. Somebody tells you something, if you resonate with it, if it's positive, negative, then the next time a younger coach comes up to me or a player, then you offer that same kind of reflection and questionnaire back to them, and see how they respond to it.
Yeah, and one thing, in regards to that, is the fact is that, like, what you were talking about is like that questionnaire and like getting that information, and I think this is one of the really cool things that you guys do right here. Joe and Miz, is that you guys don't just bring in coaches so that players get the experience to work with these coaches. You guys bring in these coaches so that your coaching staff and other local coaches
absolutely
gets to experience that. So why don't you talk a little bit about like what you guys have going on with for instance, like you've had a strong relationship with Phil Wheddon over at the Philadelphia Union for quite a while now.
Yeah, I think, it started off, who do we bring in first? First guy.
We brought in EV from Royce first. When we
were with that's right. When we were with Royce, and I think we were probably one of the first academies to be partnered with one of the largest goalkeeping companies in the world, right? And part of our agreement with them was access to, their pros, right? And EV is right up there with one of the best coaches ever. And we flew him out from Tennessee and, put him in a California hotel in Redondo, and he had a blast. And, that I think for us, because Joe and I talk about a lot of things and wherever these ideas stem from, either me or him or wherever, it's, we're not scared to just go with it. And we're not, we know at some point, some ideas aren't going to either come to fruition or they might be bad ideas. But for us, it's like, let's do it. No one else has done it. Right. And let's do it. And the EV experiment, it was really good. And that brought out the confidence then to go after other, coaches in Mexico. And then obviously we brought out Phil a few years ago, which was a huge risk as far as, how it was going to go. And that's when we added the educational portion of that with Phil, right? And we did the teaching component as well. But it's for everybody, and it's for Joe and I as well to really test ourselves to see, we think we have good sessions, fair. I think we do have good sessions, but it's that kind of that looking for knowledge and seeking other ideas and talking to other guys. Yeah, and idea sharing and being humble and open to that, and not thinking that we know everything, because we certainly do not. And that also goes with, you mentioned earlier us cultivating young coaches, right? Like I think we helped Omar a little bit. Omar certainly helped us. We have Joe Sacchetti, who's a college coach now. We have, Juan Cervantes, now he's a partner. He's at UCLA now. We have Quadzilla.
Up in Spokane.
He's academy goalkeeper coach now.
Limas and Springfield, Illinois.
Yeah. I mean, we, through the years, we've been able to kind of develop young players who've become coaches and have always come back and kind of, you want to say spread the gospel, but coach the IGA way, because they grew up through the IGA system, or they've been influenced with the IGA system and the way we do things. And for us, I think it's pretty neat, honestly, to just keep it as that. It's neat to have these young coaches really,
blossom.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Like my nephew, man, he's blossoming up too much now.
See, and I was waiting for Joe to start chiming in, because I was like, speaking of being humble, I've never seen Joe Velazco be so quiet in a conversation ever. So I was like, he must really respect what Missy's saying.
No, that's because my honey here has, what do you call that thing? The cow prong. He's pronging me. He's not saying anything. So if I say something, okay, now it's my turn. Look, at the end of the day, like what I always tag is GK for life. And our thing is, when Mizzy and we came up with that hashtag a long time ago, it was like, what does it mean? Well, for us, goalkeeping is a lifestyle, right? Because what does life have? It has pressure. Goalkeeping, there's pressure, right? The way you carry yourself with people, communication. It's the same thing with goalkeeping. If you don't communicate, you're not going to really get good results with your back line and with your team in general. So our passion is basically that, GK for life, because once you're done playing, most goalkeepers, they try coaching. Some stay with it, some don't. And then once they're done coaching and playing, they still have that passion, So that's why we always say GK for life, because we believe that it's something you do till the end of your life, man. You're always a goalkeeper for life. Once you've done it, you're in it. So, and it's cool to see like Omar blossom up. I mean, I remember Omar when he was a little kid, playing for Sharif at Barcelona.
Oh,
when he became a coach.
The chubby Omar who would get chipped from
Dude, he was a
top
big
of the
kid
18.
for like 12 years old when they would play against Paldino at South Bay Forest. That was their rival. And I saw this. I'm like, that's a big kid. I bet you he has a fake birth certificate or something. But the point is, I didn't see him again until I started noticing his stuff on YouTube, and I'm like, there's no way this is the guy. And I called Vince, hey, is this dude? He goes, yeah. I'm like, and you know what? It's good because he brought something different, something that I wasn't doing, something he wasn't doing, or anybody, you know, and look at the results. And so when I saw that he was getting into it, I said, hey, what's up, man? I'd love to have you down, blah, blah, blah. And, you know, and the first thing he said, dude, thank you. I'm honored. You know, I like what you're doing. And very humble kid. Not that he had, not just because he had a huge following. He's like, no, I don't want, no, he was humble. He, you know, he got to work, and it was our responsibility with Mizzy to like, all right, dude, this is how it is now at the grassroots level. Cause I know you train a lot of good players, good goalkeepers, but let me show you where it starts. And so I'll never forget a camp we did, the COVID camp. He showed up. Remember, Omar, that 5-day camp where I had the chiropractor?
Is this going to start becoming a roast of Omar Zini? Is that what this is?
No, because it's about giving back. Let me show you how I give back to him. So we have a doctor chiropractor at our camps, right? Athletic trainer. This guy was on that table every day getting adjusted, right? And I was like, bro, you all right? He goes, dude, if no one's taking advantage, I am. I'm like, okay, do your thing. But then when he asked me, what group am I getting? I hugged him. I said, nephew, you're really going to get tested this week. You're going to get all the little kids, all the 8, 9-year-olds.
The bubbleheads.
The baby bunnies. And I said, nephew, to be a complete, underline that word complete, to be a complete goalkeeper coach, you got to train where you're the baby bunnies. You got to learn how to have patience because it's part of teaching. You have to learn to be patient. He gave me a look like, okay, I'm sure it's only going to be for a day. But no, I said, no, you have them the whole week. And by the end of the week, I need you to know their names, and I need to know their traits, and I want you to tell them what they need to work on. Turned out he loved it. I even asked him 3 days in, hey, you want to rotate? No, I like this group now. I'm like, okay.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Hold on. So, I never would. All right, Omar, we got to. I got some information now on the next direction to go.
But see, that's the thing, though. He's open and willing, and so are the other coaches that we work with. And I want to give a quick shout out to all our affiliates, Miguel in San Diego with Unmatched, Marlon in the Valley, Arturo in Bakersfield, Miguel Bautista over there at Legends, Jeff Tackett, our boy Tackett over there in the IE. And Jeff Redinger over there in Orange County as well. All those guys right there. It's a great union. And Omar, you know, he's seen hand in hand how, you know, we stick together, like, you know, because again, like what he said, what Mizzy said, it's idea sharing. We don't know it all. There's always something new out there. And it's cool because we have a little text chat with like 4 coaches, Mizzy and I, and we just like, what do you think about this? What do you think about this? And it's like, you know, it's fun, you know, but yeah, it's always good to bring in these young coaches. And the first thing I tell these young coaches, I said, hey, are you passionate about this, or you just want to do it just to make some money to pay bills? Because at the end of the day, for me, it's about the kids. It ain't about me. It ain't about, you know, what I did in the past. It's about the kids. And if these kids and their parents are willing to invest, then we have to fulfill that job at 100%, you know. So grooming these coaches and letting them know the reality is what I do, because I don't like to sugarcoat anything, as my nephew will tell you. I will tell you straight up. Like he said, I told him, hey, quit looking lazy, be a little bit more passionate, because if your body language slumps, what do you think those kids are going to do? So I'm glad he learned that lesson.
Yep. He learned that lesson, and look at him, the wise, grizzled old goalkeeper coach veteran that he is. That he is.
Hey, he's on his way to win a national championship.
Yeah, so he's going to be doing one of these.
Hey, no pressure.
Wait, hold on.
No pressure, by the way.
Well, I mean, he doesn't remember what it looks like to get a result after his Vegas away season. So.
For real. But I just
Mike, that is below the belt right there, man.
It's Thanksgiving time, bro.
Come on, be a little nice to him.
But I just want to, Mike, real quick, just to finish up on that point. I think I did an interview with Thomas Schleck, who's the Borussia Dortmund academy director, And I sat down with him and he said, look, if I listen to a podcast for 2 hours and in those 2 hours, I got one thing that it made me a better coach, I'm going to, like, I would say that's a valuable use of my time. And once he said that to me, I kind of started taking these new approaches in certain, hey, come to my camp, or hey, can you watch this video, of like, maybe I can learn something. And I think when you guys had Phil Wheddon at your guys' camp, I think we had lunch with him, or excuse me, we had, Joe took us out to lunch, and it was us kind of just having like a more intimate moment with the coaching staff and Phil. And Phil was like, hey, Omar, like, what did you see from the session? What did you like? What didn't you like? And I was like, I'm still starstruck at this time, because I just go, I mean, this guy is one of the top coaches. He's so well respected. And you're asking me this question. And then I kind of just sat there, I absorbed it, and I said, I like this, but I really was wondering, why did you do this? Like, I didn't feel like that was, in terms of the progressions, it didn't make sense. And then he gave me his reasoning. We kind of had a little back and forth, and I was like, now I learned something. So now whenever Joe offers me an opportunity to work at camp, or to work with Phil, or to, get a younger group, I try to use that. And like you said, goalkeeper for life. Can you take a small hour or two in those moments that are out of your comfort zone, and then walk out of there with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lessons? And then those lessons, you resonate them, they reflect with you. And then after that, you pass those lessons on to somebody else. So I do feel as though on the macro level, Joe, you've done such a good job. Busy, I know I don't talk to you as much, but I speak to Joe more. But like, Joe, you've done such a good job of kind of like, look, this is going to test you, but I want you to walk out of here with something. And if you didn't walk out of here with something, you didn't try hard enough. And I feel like that's how you run your camps, how the younger kids respond to you. So I feel like from a mentor aspect, like, you've always challenged me, and that's just been something that I hope every coach has in their journey.
And just real quickly right there, guys, I just threw it up there right there. But if you guys want to know more about what we're kind of talking about here, you can check out gkforlife.net, which has all the information that we're referring to. And we're going to talk a little bit about, one of the programs that you guys have going on right now. But I kind of want to get into today's topic, and guys, and today's topic is kind of about creating a synergistic goalkeeping community and giving back on the macro and the micro. Mizzy, maybe in your words, since Joe's talked for the last 20 minutes, that we opened that Pandora's box.
See, you opened up the Pandora's box, bro.
What in your own words, what do you think of when you think giving back?
I think, as for us, it's really, or for me, really, it's about, kind of our whole mantra of why Joe and I got together originally, and it was all about what can we do for the kids, right? And even like with our pricing plan, like when we talk about pricing for a camp, like, we're like the least expensive camp, around, like, especially for what we offer and all of that. But I think for me, it's really about, really backing what we say about it's for the kids, right? Joe and I don't leave our camp events making thousands of dollars. That's not how it works. It's really just about giving back and making sure that the players get so much more than their money's worth, right? And so I think for me, it's really about that. It's about, all these coaches and all these leagues and all this stuff. It seems like such a money grab sometimes, and for us, it's never about that, right? And so when we have an opportunity, or we came up with the idea 6 years ago or 7 years ago about Project Pink, which was our breast cancer awareness glove, our first generation glove, which was it was so bad. That glove was so bad. We learned a lot. But again,
that's why I never want to get in the glove game.
Right.
No one.
Our first glove, we thought it was so rad too. It was it was horrible.
We're on cloud 9.
Yeah.
Woo!
And but again, it was about donating, right? It was about raising awareness and donating money to breast cancer awareness. And so that campaign over the years was so successful. And it really came about just, I think it was Joe's idea originally, to say, we got to do something different. Because we have family. That's right. And so I think, coming up with that idea was really what kickstarted it all. And we've been doing it ever since,
Sorry, I have to throw this up there. Somebody put this up there. Greg Burkett says.
That first glove. Look what Greg is saying.
Oh my God.
Right. But
hi, Gregory.
Yeah. Hey, Greg. That glove, that first glove, I mean, we were using manufacturers that we didn't know, and we got ripped off by
plenty of times.
Yeah, I mean, it was Yeah, that'd be a whole nother podcast of how not to start a glove company.
Oop, idea.
Yeah, but you know, but that's, I mean, for me, it's, you know, it's through kind of my life experiences, right, and
Yeah.
with my family specifically, and so, you know, I wanted to do something that, you know, we could tie something together and you know, bring awareness to bring cancer awareness out there, specifically breast cancer awareness, and that's how that whole thing started. And you know, this year we went out on a limb and obviously we started the diabetes awareness glove campaign, and it's going really well. And so, you know, I don't know how much we donated with over the years with breast cancer awareness, but I mean, one year we did $9,000 of donations because we don't make any money off of it. All the proceeds after we pay the bill just goes straight off, and we just donate it out. But yeah, so this year is diabetes awareness. Big Joe's a diabetic. One of our main players, she's a diabetic as well, and so that kind of stemmed and spurred the idea this year to change it up a little bit.
Yeah. You know, Omar, you know, kind of talking about this, I think one of the things that is really difficult with a lot of people, especially when they first start approaching social media and trying to do, you know, creator content out there, is that a lot of times they're looking at it from the from inside themselves, you know, as opposed to the external. And recognizing, you know, what am I getting out there of value that I can give back to the community, you know? And what kind of was it about your own kind of journey that kind of made you realize when you could make that 180 and go, oh, okay, I need to start catering this material towards what the needs of the many are as opposed to the needs of the few?
I think it was dropping my ego. I think it was understanding that I can present everything that I want of myself. But eventually I'm going to run out of ideas, and it's very self-serving. So I think once I kind of realized that other coaches had ideas that I've never heard of, whether it was like from the physical standpoint of how to get better, you know, jumping wise, leaping ability, cross taking, or it was like an EQ level of like, this is how you should approach your goalkeeper at halftime. This is how you should approach your goalkeeper at full time and during the off season, and all those little things like that. So I felt like as soon as I was able to realize that I wasn't the greatest thing since sliced bread in the room of coaches, then I was able to actually bring in new ideas and allow those new ideas to kind of take shape. And then once I started doing that, I started realizing that a lot of the content that I was putting out, people were like, okay, this is awesome. Like, this is like a variety of things, very eclectic type of information. And that's when I realized I could hit different people, parents, you know, with psychological questions about how to help their young daughter or son after a game, coaches with session planning, or communicating with their goalkeepers, and even goalkeepers. How do I prepare for a game? How do I bounce back from mistakes? And that's the evolution of the podcast as well. So there's just so many different topics, and I realized that there's different avenues and venues that you can kind of disperse those announcements.
Yeah, you know, and I think you know, one of the things I love what you said there in regards to, you know, checking your ego at the door. You know, Joe, you're one person, and I know we've had this discussion before in regards to the fact that you're a massive proponent. You know, and Mizzy, I'm sure you are too. I'm not saying that, like, no, Mizzy's all just about himself. But just specifically, Joe and I, we've had these conversations. You're a massive proponent about collaborations, and that you feel that like nothing really gets accomplished unless you work with others for the greater good. You know, like what was it? Was it like going to IGCC, or like what kind of was that kind of like the genesis of all that for you?
I mean, at the end of the day, I wanted to, like Omar said, I left my ego at the door, like, okay, because goalkeeping, there's no set way to train it, right? You can approach it in different ways. So, you know, it's about idea sharing. It's about camaraderie. It's about, you know, just having a simple conversation like we're having now. I have a great story about Omar over there in Chicago. He was so starstruck after Phil's session and check this out. You got John Bush, you got Phil Wheddon, you got Stan Anderson, you got three or four other guys, Stan Anderson's guys, and you got Omar and myself. And I'm like, hey, Omar, we're going to go to the bar and have a drink with Phil after you're down. And he was like, what? You're invited? Yeah, dude, remember?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
And I'm like, let's go. And Omar was like, dude, I'm in a room with all these guys. I'm like, Omar, At the end of the day, all we talk is goalkeeping. And it was such a great night because, look, when you have a union of coaches, you'd be surprised. It's not always about goalkeeping. Some coaches talk about life itself outside of soccer, and when we bring coaches together, Mizzy and I, we love it because everybody has something to offer. We want to show, hey, we coach this way, but this coach, does this differently. At the end of the day, we want the kids to learn. Maybe it's something that a message we're trying to give, and maybe one or two kids don't understand it. Maybe this coach has a different way of transferring that message, and the kid gets it. Hey, that's what we want at the end of the day. We want the kids to learn and get better and be passionate. So, but I mean, having that camaraderie and union of coaches for me is key because it's not only about the soccer, it's about the friendships, and to this day, I keep in good contact with all my goalkeeping coaching friends, and, it's good because there's always something out there. Hey, you know what I like about it the most, Mike, is I'll have coaches just send me a random text or a DM. What do you think about this? And some stuff it's funny, some stuff like, what the hell are you doing? And some's like, I got to use that one,
But I think it's important to have those conversations, Omar. I mean, I know this is something that, we've been discussing quite a bit in regards to we need to have an area, we need to have a place where we can all communicate and engage together.
Yes.
I think you see where I'm going with this.
Yes. Before we move on to that, I want to just a funny story about that night, guys. So I told you, I was so nervous to meet Phil, just because I didn't know him prior to the whole setup. But as soon as in my head I find out someone is like a big deal, or they've been around, or they've had crazy experiences, my mind completely goes to an anxiety filled mode. And so yeah, when Joe, you told me let's go have a drink with him, everybody showed up, and then we had a nice conversation. It was such a nice just the mood was so relaxing, and we were just talking about stuff. John Bush was telling us crazy stories about his career and all that stuff. And then so can you imagine? Everyone's sitting there. Then I said, "Hey guys, I'm gonna head out." I was staying at my buddy's place, a few blocks away. So I go out to get my Uber, and I'm standing there, and I just feel like this big presence like walk next to me, and I'm like, "Oh God, please don't tell me that's Phil," because I don't want to. I'm nervous to even talk to this guy in a big room, let alone one-on-one. So we have a light little conversation. We're just talking, and then it's freezing cold, mind you. It's snowing, and so we're waiting for the Uber. The Uber pulls up, and I see the Uber, and it has the license plate that's on my phone. And Phil's like, "All right, mate, I'll see you later." We say bye. He walks into my Uber, and I'm like, this is so he's good. They're gonna take him to my location. And he ends up getting in the Uber, and like 5 minutes later, he circles back and he's like, "Yeah, I think that Uber's for you, Omar." I was just like, Yes, it was. Phil, nice to see you.
You didn't want to say anything.
Wow.
I was so nervous, and he has a presence about him. He's 6'4", he's a big guy. He had the confidence in the world to take the Uber. So he gets in and it drives off. And I'm just like, oh my God, this is going to be horrible. Like, I hope he figures it out. They come back and she's like, "I apologize, man." I was like, I should have told you. What are you apologizing for? So it was just one of those funny ones where just like,
lesson
now we're
for all the
friends.
kids listening out there. Yeah. Problem solve earlier than later.
For real. Yeah. It'll seep into your playing career if you don't problem solve on the spot.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny, man. That's one I didn't know. I didn't know that story. That's a new one for me.
Yeah. Well, because we're on the topic, it's one of those. We have so many memories. It's just one of those. But yeah.
I want to talk about this a little bit with you guys right here because one thing that you guys have done, especially with your GK for Life, you kind of mentality and brand and everything like that, is you guys have also had people not only just you guys give back, but people have given back to your guys' causes as well too. I think a lot of times people, when they think about giving back, they try to think of this grandiose gesture, and they don't realize that something as simple as, like, for instance, like Stan Anderson's Venmo challenge, where send a few bucks here, send a few bucks there, can really help out a project in need. How can people kind of get away from kind of like that kind of like that stigma that like they need to come up with something revolutionary to give back?
I think it starts with conversation, honestly. I think our idea when we started, like one of the Project Pink things was, it came from a scenario, right? We were just talking about it, and one of us said, "God, it'd be cool if we did this." just as an idea, I think that people,
This guy,
Yeah.
this guy.
Maybe. maybe not.
It was about my grandma, bro, and my auntie,
Right.
and your sister.
Okay, and my sister. But I think it really, but it I think it's just having conversation, because if we'd never talked about that, right? Joe and I are obviously, we're best friends, right? And we're, we talk a lot about non-soccer stuff, sure, right? And so, with anything, it's are you willing to, kind of take a leap of faith and just try to create something that's going to help other people? And is your personality one of which that you are willing to do that? Are you willing to maybe look stupid, risk losing, money and investing in something to help other people? I think that is something that, is where people sometimes just stop and they fall short, right? But it's also, since we've done Project Pink, other glove companies have done it, right? And we're really excited and happy to see that other glove companies have done it. And whether they got it because we did it, years ago, or they saw it from another, somehow they just came up with their own idea to do whatever, however they want to help the community or the society, or, whatever their scenario is around them, their environment, it's always going to be good, right? It's always going to be good. But for me, it's all about communications. It's all about having conversations, not even necessarily about giving back, but just having conversations where then that idea then spurs off of that, right? And branches off, and we might do something, and Omar is in a situation, he's like, God, you know what? I know a company that did this. I can do something, different, but I can do something that kind of spurs in his mind an idea, and then hopefully he has the confidence and gall to do it, And
I think sorry, Ms. I was just going to say, I think, what you're bringing up right there is that, I think a lot of people are concerned that people are going to think, oh, you're stealing something, or, you're taking credit for something that somebody else kind of came up with,
Right.
as
Sure.
opposed to recognizing, well, what is the initial goal for this? Omar, and I know this is something that you've had conversations with people before who've gotten upset, that, oh yeah, man, but that was my idea or whatever. And but I'm like, yeah, but if it's doing a greater good, and if that was the whole purpose of this, you should embrace it and be proud of the fact that that person heard what you said and ran with it, because you never did, right, Omar?
I think the biggest thing that I've dealt with in the past is people stealing my sessions, or stealing things that I've done, and they, people will send me hey, isn't this your drill? I'm like, yeah, when I was younger, I'd get upset about it, but now I'm kind of just dude, it's out there. If you shift your perspective of it's mine versus this is going to help the general community, it's going to make everybody better, I don't mind sharing it. Go ahead and use it. I don't care. I think that's where I think you have to have some indifference to the causes that you're doing, because the causes are bigger than you. And I think for example, Stan Anderson's, I mean, during COVID, I was just sitting there watching every single time he was going out there and saying, hey guys, we're going to be helping this restaurant or this family with this cause. And I was just this is not a revolutionary idea, but people have it in their hearts. They want to give. And people started giving and giving and giving. And then you start seeing, and then you can even see Stan was I don't want the attention, but if it's helping other people and this is going to get to bigger audiences, then give me the attention and I'm going to help. So I think for me, it's just as long as it helps other people, I don't care. You can detach me from whatever it is. As long as it helps other people, go for it.
Yeah, and I think that's really the important thing right there that you're saying, is that as long as it's helping other people. And honestly, one of the things that I want to say regards to this, even though the fact that I've had literally Omar on the screen the entire time when I meant to switch it over to full screen so everyone could see all of us right here, is that when you're talking about sessions there, that's such a big thing, because I know a lot of young coaches and they get very possessive about sessions. And I started realizing the longer I got into coaching, and I know that, Joe and Ms., you guys feel the exact same way. There's no such thing as my session, because all you're doing is essentially you're doing activities that are based on the game. And so there's just a bunch of different variables that can come into play but everything's going to be redone by somebody. Everyone's going to have a different little wrinkle to everything or whatever. But there's no such thing as that'd be like saying like, well, goalkeeping is mine. I'm the one that created goalkeeping. Like I'm the one that created how to catch the ball, So we need to start getting out of our heads and get out of our heads about that and stop getting so possessive about that and recognizing, bringing up, what Phil was saying, and I don't want to go off on a tangent here, but that night in Chicago is that he said to me afterwards, he said, every coach in there, right? The majority of the coaches right there in the stands right now are in their notebooks going, how can I make what he's doing better? And I'm okay with that because I want to see goalkeeping continue to improve and continue to evolve. He didn't go, I can't believe they're stealing my sessions or they're saying I've got stuff that's better than this. No, he's going about it the reverse. And that's when you're talking about a high-level professional.
Right.
Right. I'm off my soapbox.
Yeah, but I think, going off of that a little bit, when we do our college ID camp and we bring in college coaches to run those sessions, we have, we'll say like, Omar, you're gonna do the morning session. And you need to, have it written out, typed out professionally, the whole session, right? Your topic is, let's say, crosses or whatever, right? But then you need a copy for everybody else, right? Because we want part of that whole camaraderie and coming and working our camps is the coaches. We want the coaches to leave with sessions that they haven't seen that somebody else has designed. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of sharing in that regard. And again, going back to a previous point is you check your ego at the door. You have to, if you truly care about your craft, there's no room for you to really get, to the pinnacle of your craft with an ego and with anything, not just goalkeeping and coaching, but in life in general. Right. So, we've had a lot of positive feedback from the guys and gals that have worked with us, staff wise, because we're like, hey, here's a session. This will be the leader of that activity, this morning session. It'll be Omar or whatever. And here's the session he's going to do. Please take it home and steal it, change it, make it yours, do all that. And then Omar will be in the afternoon session. And whoever that head coach is for that, that topic of, let's say, breakaways or whatever, he'll get that session, right? And everybody, we do a lot of session sharing and idea sharing and all that stuff. And that's, that has really helped a lot of the coaches out and given them some insight on what these other coaches that they've never even met before, right? So
yeah, I think, Busy, to you guys' point though, I think for me, if I can internalize this conversation and kind of like speak on it from my experience, I feel like even going to your guys' camps, like you said, it's us as coaches having to verbalize why we're standing behind this session to other coaches. That for me on a coaching level and being able to, if I step into a higher role eventually, that gives me the experience where I can speak to the goalkeepers and have confidence in what I'm doing and what I'm saying. So that starts there, and you guys do a really good job of providing that platform. But also too, I think you can run the same drills, but it's the voice and when are you stopping? What are you focusing on? And I think, for example, when I've watched Joe run some of his sessions, and again, Mizzy, I spend more time with Joe, so I wish I could throw some compliments at you as well. But mainly when I spend time with Joe, I feel like, and I've always said this about him, is that his emotional intelligence is so high because he invests so much time in his goalkeepers. So the depth of what he can say to his goalkeepers in front of other people is there. It's insane. And I remember there was a time, I forget the kid's name, but we were doing like this passing exercise and he kept messing up and you were, throwing some conflict resolution at him and throwing it at him to see how he can manage it. And he wasn't able to manage it. And you were just like, son, you coming to me and asking me to put your name in the hat for these top schools, D1, D2, and you can't even perform in this little group. How are you going to tell me to keep putting my name behind your name? And it was just one of those things where I was like, there's no way Joe barely, as I said, there's no way Joe barely knows this kid and is just saying it. And in my head, I was just like, this is why it's the macro of helping, of like, just because the session's over doesn't mean that relationship ends. And I feel like that's some of the things when I was younger as a coach, it was money driven because I'm like, I need to find a career out of this. So you're like making money, you finish the session, you say goodbye. And the next time you see that kid, then you open up the discussion again. Versus how you guys have done it is you finish your session, you stay connected with that kid, you help them with their college recruitment, you help them throughout their whole process. And then when you see them again, now you're able to really, really give them the self-awareness that they need because you've been able to invest and develop that relationship. And I feel like from the top coaches that I've worked with, they don't neglect that. They spend time with their goalkeepers. Even if it's the third choice, they say, hey, let's go grab coffee. Let me see where you're at in your career. And I feel like you've done such a good job at instilling that and making me self-aware of like, okay, it's not about you, your sessions or whatever. Sit down, understand the human behind the wearing the gloves. And then from there, then all your coaching points can really, really hit differently because they actually care what you're saying.
Yeah, and I think, Omar, I think something that you brought up right there, by the way, speaking of passion and stuff like that, like I look at how invested Joe is in goalkeeping, and I go, do I even like goalkeeping? Like compared to this guy, like I mean, I'm just like Jesus. I'm like I feel like I'm like a casual observer of goalkeeping in comparison. But I mean, I think that's one thing that you guys do with your personal instruction program that a lot of personal instruction programs don't do out there. And I'm not trying to toot your guys' horn or whatever, but like you guys, you take that extra step and go like, this is not just about the instruction here on the field as private instruction or small group instruction. It's an entire goalkeeping community, and we're here to help you however we can, whether it's on the field, off the field, outside of goalkeeping, all of that, and I think that there needs to be more programs like that recognize that, even if you're not with even if it's not with a club, but if it's an independent program, you still need to have that club environment.
Right.
Yeah. Our biggest thing with IGA is not being affiliated with a club, right? Sure. Yeah. I work for a club. Joe he works for a club now, and he's worked for other clubs in the past, obviously. But IGA itself as its own entity is our big, that was like our number 2 rule was, we're not going to let club coaches come to camp and recruit goalkeepers, and we're not doing that. It's, take that whatever club you play for jersey off, put an IGA top on, and that's who you're with, right? And a lot of friendships amongst competing goalkeepers, over the years have been developed through that, and that helps their own person, right? They look past, the team that they compete against all the time in the final of, whatever tournament, Surf Cup or smaller or whatever. And it's all right, cool. I'll see you next week at IGA. You going to be at IGA next week? And all of these goalkeepers from all over the state and now, multiple states, they kind of connect with each other, and it's and it's standing there sometimes and laughing.
Why is he laughing at me?
He's talking about your beard shape.
Don't be jealous, Stan.
But I think that again, at a macro level, it's building that camaraderie, and these kids are having friendships with players they normally wouldn't necessarily even want to talk to, right? And so it's kind of it's fun to see the kids, especially when COVID was crazy, and then we're going to have our first big event, official big event or whatever, in December. And it's going to be like a little fun little reunion for a lot of these kids, that haven't seen each other in a long time. So it'll be cool.
Yeah. I mean, by the way, Juan Cervantes just put this up here right here. He says, ask Joe about the breakfast club, early morning sessions. Kids would still show up.
All right. So, my turn.
Story time.
So, all right. I promise it'll be under 2 minutes. Okay. So what he said about last year when the COVID thing was crazy, there was no club soccer, there was nothing. So I decided to work with my partner's daughter, who is 16 years old and is already 6'1".
She's not. She's 5'10".
Or whatever. and he told me, hey, work with her feet. So I said, okay, I'm going to see it, because look, they weren't going to school. I mean, physically, it was all online. So it started with his daughter and then my son, Cody. And I was like, all right, 6 a.m. And I said, dude, these kids aren't going to show up. They're not going to show up. No, they showed up. And then when I put it up on my social media, other kids like, hey, how come I wasn't invited?
Upset. They were upset.
Upset. I'm like, because you're not willing to get up early to get here. Long story short,
I made her ride her bike. I wouldn't even.
Yeah, he wouldn't even give her a ride. She rode her bike to the park. Long story short, I did it for free. Another way of giving back, right? Because some of these keepers that were going, their parents had lost their jobs. So I said, I'm going to do this for free. It'll be 2 hours. I brought all the stuff. At the end of the day, I was having an average of 15 to 20 kids out there. at the park, dark at 5:45 a.m.
Wow.
And these are kids that, as far as Los Alamitos, CJ, he'd come down,
which is 30 minutes.
30 minutes to get here to Torrance.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at all these kids, and look, maybe this is what's the word, stereotyping. I didn't expect the kids that lived up on the hill or by the water to show up early. Truth be told, I said these kids are going to sleep in. Those are the ones that showed up the most. Yeah. So it was a pleasant shock, if that's the way to say it, because it showed. And I told them, hey, you guys being here tells me that you really want to do this. Either that or you're bored out of your mind. You have nothing to do, so you might as well come in early, right? But the point is that they showed up, and I was like, wow, that just showed. It showed me like they care, because how are you going to get a teenager I had them as young as 12 years old. But an average 15-year-old, 14-year-old, getting them up, you got to get up at 5:30. What?
And get your parent up, because most of the kids, their parents drove them.
Yeah.
I refuse.
Yeah.
So that tells me that the drive is there. And that was very flattering for me. I felt good about my kids showing up. So, yeah, that's the story about the Breakfast Club.
Yeah. But it also goes to speak towards the dedication to their craft.
Yeah.
Right. We talked about, goalkeeping is a kind of a unicorn position, right, on the field, and it's the kids that really succeed care about their craft, and that's why they train extra. That's why they do privates or semi-privates or whatever it is. But I mean, it's their dedication to their craft to be the best goalkeeper that they can be, right? And they look towards coaches, to do that, and I think it creates a special relationship between coach and player and coach, because it's like, hey, I mean, this term has been around since forever, but goalkeeper union, right? And are you a card carrying member of the goalkeeper union? And how do you earn that card, right? And while there's no official way of doing it, obviously, but
idea.
Hey, but I said it first.
Yes.
But anyway, I mean, but that's what it is, right? It's like this unwritten rule of, and all the goalkeepers know that they talk to each other about each other, and oh yeah, so and so is really good, really, yeah, and they put a lot of extra work in, right? And that's just what we see, right? And that's there, out there, right? It's out there. So I
just want to make sure that the Breakfast Club wasn't goalkeeping; it was plyometrics. It was CrossFit. That's what. It was.
Okay.
That's why Juan was saying that, because he'd laugh, because he would be like, yeah, I don't think they're gonna do it, bro. I'm like, let's find out. So that's what happened. It all started with his daughter just jumping rope, just getting her to be quick because she's very tall, so to work on her lateral movement. And so it was all about CrossFit, basically goalkeeping CrossFit, because after 90 minutes of that, then we do 30 minutes of just ball handling to like cool down, and that was it. So yeah, and that went on for about a good 2 months.
Wow.
Like Monday through Friday for free. That was our giving back, because again, they weren't doing anything. Parents had lost their jobs, and kids were going out of their mind. They're like, I'm bored. All right, well, wake up early.
No.
And it helped.
I dare you.
I dare you. Well, Omar knows, like, I always talk smack to my, you think you're good, but you're not there yet. If you really want to be good, you'll show up. Like, I'm just the best instigator in the world. Everyone calls me that, so I just go with it. I'm like, if you're really that, like, here's the classic, right? Hey, I want to go D1. And I just say, okay, why? What makes you think you're D1? Oh, because I play flight 1 and I'm 6 foot. I'm like, oh, okay. So that makes you a D1 goalie. Yeah. Okay. I just ignore them and like, hey, you're not at the level. And that's where my reality talk comes. I'm like, look, son, you're not at the level. You're not there. You're a D2, maybe D3. Are you smart? You have good grades? All right, stay D3, because that's where I see you're at. And some kids don't like it. But again, at the end of the day, this is the difference between us Gen X people and these Gen Z or millennials. It's just, I cannot be any other way. I have to be real with the kids. Now, to be fair, I was put in my place by my other son, CJ, who is, Omar knows him. He's about 5'8" on a good day. Extremely good. I said, son, they're not going to look at you at D1 because of your height. They're going to discriminate you. That's just the way it is. He had offers for D2 programs. no, I want to play flight 1. I'm like, okay, you're gonna end up playing at a JC if you don't take these offers. Well, guess what? He got an offer from a D1 school and he took it. And he said, I told you. I said, hey, you're right. All right, you got me. You earned it, because he did earn it. And yeah, so those things happen at times as well. But at the end of the day, it's about being real with these kids. And that's just how I approach it. And that's why, if you notice on our bio, on our Instagram, it says an unapologetic approach to goalkeeping, because I don't apologize for how I tell these kids how it is, because someone has to do it. Might as well be me, right? And him.
Well. I tell you what. I think this is a great way to end on that one and move on to this last kind of thing right there, because I think we've given people a lot of great ideas on how they can kind of give back, and that is in the regards to what we're thankful for in the goalkeeping community. And I kind of want to just kind of end this episode like it is Thanksgiving, and happy Thanksgiving to everybody in the goalkeeping community, all the insiders out there. We're thankful for you and your continued support of the podcast, and obviously of Omar's Pro GK Academy and all the other endeavors that are out there, GK for Life and the Diabetes Club and all that. And we put that link right over in here. But I want to start off, and I'm going to say I am thankful for college coaches that are willing to take 5'8" goalkeepers Division I. I am thankful for those coaches. Thank you for those head coaches for taking those what would you say, leaps of faith as that
guy can jump too.
Oh, he can jump.
He can jump.
Yeah, he's a cricket.
Because he has to.
So I want to start. We'll start. Maybe you guys have just been talking a little bit right here. So I just want to start with Omar. Omar, what in goalkeeping are you thankful for? I mean, it can either be this past year or just in general.
I think for me, on a personal level, on my own journey, is just people like Joe and Mizzy and yourself, Mike, who saw something in me as I was on my path, and this year as well, and just kind of took me under your guys' wings and gave me that tough love. And as Joe said, kind of that unapologetic approach to goalkeeping, and as an unapologetic approach to mentoring young coaches, because you have their best interest at heart, and I always felt like you guys did. So even if it was as much as like, hey, this session makes no sense, or hey, this is terrible, I always took it as, okay, these guys don't hate me, so there's obviously a reason for their criticism, and I always felt that it was constructive, and so I'm thankful for you guys, and hopefully I can keep proving to you guys that I've taken your lessons in stride.
Wow, and if we had done this episode with somebody else, it would have been like, I'm thankful for Stan Anderson and everything that he's done for me.
Stan, I mean,
Stan's the man.
Stan's the man.
Stan is the man.
Look, the GK Union president is Phil, and Stan is like
executive director.
Like he's like right next to him.
Yeah, Stan is. I mean, you guys, anybody, if you guys go watch, I mean, you got Joe. I'll tell you guys as well to go to Camp Shutout. Just go check it out. It is quite the event. It's you sit there and you just kind of look at in the hall when you're having dinner or having lunch, and you see like 300 other goalkeepers and like 60 coaches. You just go like, damn, this is where it's at. Like, these are memories that we're all gonna. It's epic. It really is.
Yeah, it really is. All right, let's move on. So we'll I know. Well, okay, fine. We'll start with Miz. So Miz, what are you thankful for in goalkeeping? And again,
I can't wait to hear this. Let me record this.
We are being recorded.
No, but with my phone, so I can hold it forever.
Yeah. I think I'm thankful for the sport. I think it's given me a life. Honestly, it's given me the position itself. Has given me the opportunity to travel, to meet people I would not normally have met, have great experiences, get a college education, obviously playing college, and give me a foundation to have something to build on, right? And that foundation has led me, with Big Joe and our whole, multiple years of shenanigans that we've been doing this thing, right? And so honestly, but it really comes down to that first coach who was like, you'd be a really good goalkeeper. Go check it out. Yeah, bro, that's not emotion, bro. It's just facts. These are facts. But I mean, it is. It's based. It really is. It's based. I'm thankful for that first coach who was like, hey, you need to be a goalkeeper, and here's why. And so it boils down to way back when I was 10 years old. And having the support system that I had, right, to get me to the next level, all that, and and here we are 107 years later, on the podcast, trying to do some good stuff for people. So in sport.
Wow. I'm touched. I'm not going to lie. I'm touched. Eric Lemus is touched. A lot of people are touched right now. So everyone's
touched in the eyeball when he comes in. With an elbow when he's not looking.
All right, Joe, you're up.
Dude, that's like a 30-minute answer, but I'm gonna cut it down to 2 minutes.
I know.
All right, so I'm gonna piggyback off my partner here. Everything he said, I concur 100%. I feel the same way, but I'm outside of that. I'm very thankful for platforms like you guys, what you guys do inside the 18. Because apart from, when I talked about GK for Life, it's about bringing the awareness of goalkeeping. And you guys, Michael, what you do, I know what you're doing with the podcast. It takes a lot of work and prep work. And Omar, with what you do with your social media as well, it takes a lot of work. You guys are taking goalkeeping education on another level. Like, it's a different form of learning outside of doing it on the field. So I'm thankful that these types of platforms are available, because when we were 14, 15, Mike, Omar, Miz, we didn't have this, right? So these kids got all these avenues of ways of learning the position. So on that end, I'm thankful for what you guys are doing, and everybody else that does a podcast or stuff on YouTube, or stuff like what Phil does. I mean, what Phil does, like at the IGCC, I call it the goalkeeping pilgrimage. I mean, that's what it is, right? But like on top of that, I'm thankful for all the goalkeepers that have come through IGA that believed in our method. I'll be the first one to say I'm not everybody's cup of tea, right? Everybody has a different fit with different coaches, but I'm very thankful for all the goalkeepers that have come through our system that have succeeded getting to the highest levels, whether it be in college or professional. And beyond that, it's the relationships. Said something about that earlier. The relationships that you carry after they're done with soccer, like when you get that invitation to their wedding or something, like they feel that you've done something for them in their life. Hence the reason why I labeled Impact Goalkeeper Academy, because the goal is to impact these kids' lives, not just as youngsters, but through their adulthood, right? So I'm thankful for all the goalkeepers and all the coaches that that I talk to, that I work with, everybody that involved in goalkeeping. I just hope that this union of coaches that we have can get bigger and stronger. And I think as goalkeeper coaches, we need to leave our egos at the door, because there are goalkeeper coaches out there that they think their way or the highway, and that's their own thing. But later they'll figure out that's not the way it is. But we're a small unit as far as coaches, and I would want that to grow. And I'm thankful for the relationships that I have with all the coaches that do what we love to do.
He said all that in 1 minute and 55 seconds.
Wow. Incredible. Look at that. That is incredible. All right. I will wrap it up and say it like this, guys. I am thankful for all of you guys out there in the professional game, in the youth game, in the college game, who are willing to go out there and put this type of effort and dedication into helping people, not just on the field, but off the field. Because if it wasn't for all of you out there, this resource wouldn't be very useful, right? And the reason this resource is useful, the reason Omar's content is useful, is because you guys are willing to go out there and put that type of effort and dedication into it. Otherwise, it would just be me talking for an hour about what just happened in Champions League, because there'd be nothing else to talk about. So honestly, you guys do all the work behind the scenes. People don't necessarily realize it. I think, Jeff Tackett brought up a great point right here. He says, at what point are NCAA colleges not going to make goalkeeper coaches the volunteer assistant coach and make it an actual official paid position? And I think that right there, kind of says it, that a lot of us do this with great sacrifice, and we don't necessarily get the credit for it, but we do it because we feel that we're giving back in a way that other people might not be able to. And it's really cool when you see, players like you're saying, playing in MLS or playing in Europe or whatever, and you might have had a little bit to do with helping them along that path, whether it's a little piece of information that you gave them at a camp, or you ran a session with them once, or whatever. It's just really cool to see people be able. I always say we don't make the goalkeeper, but we are a resource for the goalkeeper, and the goalkeepers that are out there who are willing to utilize these resources are only going to benefit from it. So thank you to all you guys. So, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. No worries. Hold
and
on.
Don't forget, guys, December 18th and 19th, check us out in Torrance, California with Phil Wheddon. We got the ID camp and the Youngers Elite camp. And don't forget, goalkeeper coaches, we also have Phil doing a coaching course. He will be giving out certificates for it. Okay, December 17th, Friday. Mike and Omar are going to be there live with their podcast. They're going to do it live. I don't know if I was supposed to say that, but okay, I said it anyway. And one last thing, we have diabetes awareness gloves. We did this, to try to push diabetes because Big Joe's a diabetic. And why don't you go ahead and elaborate about our pro player in Mexico who's a diabetic? Go ahead. You got 1 minute. Go.
So IGA alum Sienna Robles, who's playing in the women's league in Mexico, is a diabetic, and so that was kind of the idea that spurred this year. So that's why we went away from Project Pink. And so this year we're doing, in conjunction with our glove company, our partner glove company is what this glove is all about. So diabetes awareness is blue, and it's a great glove. It's a negative cut glove. It's got a little finger prick right there, and it's a professional level glove. It's a $85 retail glove. Comes with a T-shirt, a super dope T-shirt, and we're taking orders, and all the proceeds, just like every other campaign we've done, goes to diabetes awareness. So that's what we're doing this year, and we are getting that stuff out. So you can get all the information on gkforlife.net for both our camps and our camp, the ID camp in December, and also to order the glove.
Awesome, guys. I think this is a really great way to wrap up this episode, guys. Thanks first off for taking all the time right here. Obviously it's a busy time, with the holidays and everything like that, and I know you guys have your sessions going on consistently. Omar, anything you want to plug before we all get ready to start eating turkey tomorrow?
Are we plugging what we're plugging or no?
Do you want to? Should we do it?
Sure. Yeah. I mean,
All right.
I'm sure there's some people in the community that know Mike and I and Saskia have put together a new business. It's a platform specifically for position-specific sports, and goalkeeping is our first try at it, and we really want you guys to get on it. It's called The Union, and hopefully you guys love it. First and foremost, it's contextual, curated content from people like myself and other coaches out there. So, there it is, unionsports.com. So give it a look. We're in a we are in a friends and family trial at the moment. So go ahead and check it out for the next 30
This is friends and family, so insiders, Impact Goalkeeper Academy, alumni or current residents, all those sorts of people. Not available to the general public just yet, guys. We want your feedback on what you like, what you don't like. Just basically, tell Omar, which sessions they hate of his and how they can do them better. All those sorts of things out there. But honestly, guys, we're trying to create, much like you guys were talking about, having an inclusive community that's engaging consistently. This is something that's necessary out there. We need a platform where it's a safe space where we guys can all can talk and share our ideas, and not be exploited by some of the traditional social media that we may or may not be on right now while this is taking place. But honestly, guys, it's really about let's try to keep helping the goalkeeping community how we can by helping each other and engaging with each other, and so we're really, really passionate about this, really excited about it. And we can send you guys all the links. We'll send Big Joe and Miz all the information so they can get on and start checking it out and complaining on what Omar did right there and how they should have done that.
Oh, we're gonna slice that.
Oh, Omar, you just don't know what you're gonna go through. You're gonna go through the meat grinder now.
I'm okay with it. I've been there. I don't mind it.
But it's
Your
gonna be fun.
camera angles better be good. That's all I'm gonna say, because that's the first thing.
And guys, we got two awesome sections. We got a feed area and we got a forum area. Our forum is pretty awesome. It's kind of like Reddit or Discord. Anyone can post in there. Anyone can talk about it. We're going to have, engagements, during Champions League games and streams and all sorts of cool stuff like that. And then we got our feed section where you can apply to be a creator yourself. Not everyone's going to be accepted as a creator, guys. Not everyone's going to accept it, but everyone can apply to become a creator on the platform. So if you want to do that, if you want to put that type of effort in there, fill out that application. We'll check it out and we'll see if it's beneficial to the community. So, yeah.
Amen.
Yeah. So
did you just challenge us?
We'll see what you guys got.
Hey, Joe's the one that was like, I was like, hey, can you send a hard copy? He's like, I don't have any hard copies of any of these videos. I'm like, wait, you just put them up on YouTube? And
because he has all of them, bro. He has them all.
Oh, he's got them.
So, but is Omar challenging us?
I think Mike.
No, Mike's cool.
Both. We'll see.
I think the nephew's trying to step up his game.
We'll see. Jeff said, "Do we need references?" You're going to see in the application. You're going to see in the application process how it works.
There you go.
And there's a secret.
Well done, Jeff. Well done.
There's a secret cabal of goalkeeper coaches around the world that will be checking out the content and deciding whether it's worthy. It's union worthy, guys.
Omar's going to disappear.
Guys, again, guys, happy Thanksgiving. If you have a guest suggestion
or
topic,
everybody.
suggestion, at Goalkeeper Podcast on all social media platforms, or contact at inside the 18media.com. I forgot who it was who said that we should do an episode about giving back during Thanksgiving. I apologize, but wonderful idea, and we couldn't think of a better group to do it with than Impact Goalkeeper Academy. And I guess, guys, all we can say right now is check out the Union Sports, and we are out. Later, guys.
Peace.
Yeah.